Hi, so today we will learn how to deal in mathematics those things that only sometimes happen. So, what do I mean by this one? In mathematics, we have 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. We are certain that if we add 1 and 1, it will always be equal to 2. And if we multiply 3 times 3, we will always have the value of 9. But there are also things in real life situation that only sometimes happen. What do I mean by this? So if you are given, so for these equations, they always happen. But on what we will discuss today is the things that only sometimes happen. So if I give you a coin and the coin have heads and tails, what's the likely what's the chance of you getting heads or getting tails if you toss the coin? So a probability of an event is the value of how likely you will get um, um, those events. So how likely will you get heads or tails if you throw this particular coin? So the probability to get heads is equal to 1/2. The probability to get tails is equal to 1/2. So we will look into it on how to compute on this one later. So let's first check what the probability line is. So in probability line, the value of 0 is equal to impossible. It will never happen. And then the value of 1, this means that it will always happen or it's certain to happen. And then the other values in a probability is just between 0 and 1. So if you're given a 1/2 probability, this means that you have an even chance. If it's less than 1/2, it's highly unlikely. Well, if it's greater than 1/2, it's likely to happen, but it's not still certain. Okay. In probability, you can express your values here as a fraction, as decimal, and as percentage. So we will discuss it later on how to convert those things, but they all mean the same when you give these values in a probability. So the definition of probability is the probability of an event is the number of favorable outcomes all over the number of possible outcomes. So let's check how do we use this. So in our example, we have a coin and it has two sides, the heads and tails. So the number of possible outcomes is just equal to 2 because if you toss the coin, you will only either get a head or a tail. So there's only one head here and only one side that's showing tails. So the probability to get those is 1/2 for heads and 1/2 for tails because the only possible outcomes are just 2. Okay. Let's have another example here. So if you're given a die, a die has 6 faces from 1 to 6. So there are 6 possible outcomes. And then each number from 1 to 6 can only come out 1 at a time. So if you throw a die, you can either get 1, 2, 3, or any number up to 6. But you can only get one number at a time. So if you compute that one, the probability of getting 3 if you throw a die is 1/6 because there's only 1 3 there and there are 6 possible outcomes, thus giving us the probability of 1/6. Same if you're trying to get 5 here. So the probability of getting 5 here is 1 out of 6 possible outcomes. So it's 1/6. Let's have another sample here. So here you have colorful marbles inside the bag, and you want to know the probability of getting blue, red, or a green here. Okay, so the possible outcomes here, the possible outcome here is 20 because the sum of all the marbles here is equal to 20. So there are 20 marbles inside. The number of green here If you can see here, it's 5 green marbles. The number of red here is 9. And the number of blue here is 6. So if we follow the formula, if we want to know the probability of getting green, if you try to take one marble only, it's 5. There are 5 greens all over 20, which is the total number of marbles here. If we simplify it, it is equal to one fourth. Okay, so this is just if you make the fraction to lowest term. So the probability is 5 over 20. There's a 5 chance out of 20 to get green marbles. Same if you want to get the probability of getting blue marble. So there are 6 blue marbles here out of 20, so it's 6 over 20, or if you simplify it, it's just 3 over 10. And lastly, if you want to compute for the possibility of getting red, it's 9. There are 9 red marbles and 20 possible outcomes, so it's 9 over 20. So this is just a basic of probability, and I hope you understand now, and you can imagine now what a probability means. Thank you and God bless.